Yes, happy weekend, everybody. We've got our Coast to Coast Florida Live. You're looking at the most fresh, up-to-date weather information available across all of Florida and, hey, and the tropics as well, Robert. We've got all the latest to keep people cutting edge and ahead of things. I'm meteorologist Mike Prangley. We've got meteorologist Robert Speta. So I'm coming here from Tampa, officially St. Petersburg. I'm looking out a sunny window right now, Robert, and we've got Robert Speta there in downtown Duval. How you looking, Robert?
Yeah, I'm not too bad this morning. We've already had waves of rainfall move across Jacksonville. In fact, this morning we got a weather impact alert here on our side of the state throughout the entire weekend. It's just a stationary boundary that's set up, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it here, Mike. We also have a new low chance of tropical development fresh breaking this morning. We were kind of expecting something off the east coast of the Carolinas. And a look at the long-range outlook as well. But how are things going on over there on the west coast of our great state of Florida here this morning?
Right. Hey, we're like you. We're recovering from these amazing temperatures we saw this week. We saw the hottest temperature on record dating back to 1890. We hit 100 degrees for the first time. And Robert, really here in Tampa, it's tough for us to hit 100. That thermometer out there, we've got water everywhere. We've got the bay, of course, the Gulf, and that thermometer is sitting right near the water, almost like what you see in Jacksonville Naval Air Station. It's tough for that thermometer to go much higher than 99. And really, it did it for the first time at least in modern recorded history. So it was a really big deal here in Tampa. And if that wasn't enough, we also hit our all-time record heat index high of 119. And then we followed that with 120 on Monday. And the old record was 118. So that's what we're dealing with here. A lot like Jacksonville. I know Jacksonville, you had like 3 straight 100-degree days. That's incredible.
3 straight 100-degree days, the first time since 1999. I mean, we get up to 100 occasionally here, so it's not as remarkable as over there, but it was the consistency in a heat advisory or extreme heat warning every single day. And to put this in perspective from an infrastructure standpoint, our local electrical grid here in Jacksonville, JEA, had their biggest draw on power Monday and Tuesday in several decades. So it just kind of points out just how hot it's been here across the state of Florida. But now we got this change up in the forecast, right? We got a little bit of rain, cloud cover, kind of bringing those temperatures down at least a little bit here. Yeah, and as we look at the heat, it's still a big deal here in Tampa today. We're not going to get the storms you're getting up in North Florida. So we're talking about the heat advisories the farther south you go in the state of Florida. So that's for southern Florida. But overall here in Tampa, no official heat advisories, but at times it's going to feel like 103 to 108. And then in Jacksonville, of course, you're dealing with that front. And speaking of that front, we talked about the new fresh information we're talking about getting to on our show and what it's all about. Let me have over the weather wall here, and we're going to take a look at the new hatched area from the National Hurricane Center. This is just coming out. You can see a lot of thunderstorm activity off the Carolina coast, off northeast Florida. Here's our frontal system, and what we've seen so far this hurricane season are these fronts that have been trying to stall in the deep south with these big troughs, and we've watched these fronts because a lot of times you can get some tropical development and circulation along them. Okay, so here we go again. Another front here in toward the Carolinas. You see an X just near Wilmington, North Carolina. So this is a little different. Instead of really the Gulf-centered part of the forecast, we're thinking things are more centered in the Atlantic, and you can see that big hatched area off the Carolina coast. So right now the Hurricane Center given it a 10% chance of development in the next 2 days and 20% over the next 7 days. It's going to take its time to try to develop into something, but right now I think those chances are still very low. You see the latest Euro model as we go through Sunday, Monday. There's that low pressure trying to organize a bit, but even then I think it's still extra tropical. It hasn't really ascertained or gotten those tropical characteristics. So a lot still needs to happen for this to become named, and I think it has a lot working against it. But again, we'll watch it, especially as we get toward Tuesday and Wednesday. And if it does develop into Dexter, it would head away from the United States, heading east and away from all land areas here in the United States and the Carolinas. So that's good news. So for here, Jacksonville and Tampa, we're looking good as far as the tropics right now, but it's just a sign now that we're in August, Robert, hey, things are really going to start to ramp up. So notice we've had Andrea, Barry, Chantal. I would not be surprised by the end of August we go through Dexter, Aaron, Ferdinand, and maybe even Gabrielle. So it's another reason to stay tuned. There's another hatched area we're watching from the Climate Prediction Center. This is for August 13th through the 19th. So here's Florida.
we got the Caribbean. We're watching areas toward Africa now. So the African wave train really starts to generate this time of year, really starts to come to life, especially by the middle and end of August. So I think Robert and I usually on our calendars every year, once we get closer to that August 20th date, we know things are really going to get interesting out there. And you can see the African coast, big bubble right in the center of the Atlantic Ocean. And if you look at the wind shear, one of the many parameters we look at, we're not seeing too much in the way of wind shear across the Atlantic, even into the Caribbean as we head toward the middle of August, August 11th and 12th. And I'm also seeing some of that Saharan dust start to filter out. So with less wind shear in the Caribbean, that allows thunderstorms to really develop and build big steam. Think of the big steam engines in the atmosphere that can just evacuate the air. And with that, you get the circulation and a developing storm. Now, when we have strong wind shear, it disrupts the wind flow and it tears off the top of this developing system if it's trying to develop, and that's usually good news. But as we go toward the middle of August, we're watching things change with less Saharan dust. You can see still a big plume heading toward the areas of the Bahamas and Cuba, even south and central Florida as we head into the next week or so, and another plume out toward Africa. But I think as we go into toward the middle and end of August, we'll continue to see that Saharan dust thin out. We look at the GFS and the American model as we head toward the second and third weeks of August, and we're looking for yellows here, areas of low pressure versus high pressure. And you can see in the Caribbean starting to see little bubbles of low pressure down that way. So we'll continue to watch it very carefully. And you can see the main storm tracks have changed a bit since July, right? We're now watching that African train, and that usually generates storms. And a lot of times they can hold together and come all the way toward Florida, the Carolina coastline, and even the Gulf of Mexico. So we'll watch these three tracks that become very prominent as we head into the middle and end of August. And so as we look at our hurricane season, Robert, here it is. We're seeing August. That's when things really start to ramp up as we head toward the peak season on September 10th. Good news for now. Quiet, but another reason today we're showing all these hatched areas. Another reason to prepare now. Make sure you have all your supplies. I know we've got tax-free hurricane shopping season underway officially today, and today is the time to do it. But if you're in Jacksonville, Duval, St. Johns County, you may want to do that shopping a little earlier in the way. So Robert, you can take it away. I've got all kinds of radars pulled up for you, and it does look like plenty of lightning out there this morning, especially toward Alachua County, but it looks like it's just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, as to what's going to happen for you today. Yeah,
those storms working their way across Florida. Already this morning we actually had some heavier showers in Jacksonville just around about 8 a.m., but now it looks like it's working its way from the west all along this kind of just stationary boundary, which has been set up. And the problem is, and a lot of people will say, oh, this is Florida, we get afternoon storms, but here's the deal. This is going to be waves along this stationary boundary. So it's not going to be that one and done type of storm setup that we typically see this time of year. In fact, we're going to be looking at these passing showers. And right here, you see that severe weather outlook. The Storm Prediction Center, our friends out in Oklahoma, there are some really smart people giving us, so they're giving us that a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms into the Jacksonville area. Also an excessive rainfall risk across a good portion of southeastern Georgia. So the flood threat is going to be up there as well. And as I mentioned, this is all part of that stationary boundary which has been set up across our area. So it's not going anywhere fast. Real quick, I do want to just back on the tropics real quick here. And then we'll talk about this rainfall, a part of this boundary that could be forming up that area towards our east. Mike, a lot of people have been talking about how the tropics feel like they've been calm so far this year. Did you know, I'm sure you know, but people at home, that on average, August 11th is our first named hurricane. I know it doesn't feel that way because we've had so many early storms here recently, but on average, it's not until August 11th do we get our first named hurricane, and 90% of those tropical systems typically form after, yesterday, August 1st. So we're getting into that time of year. That's why we're always going to keep you posted here as that moves away. But as you were just showing there a second ago, there is all that rain that we have to worry about. It may not be a tropical storm, but it is going to feel tropical showers out there with all the heat, the humidity we've been seeing recently, and just these messy conditions continuing in our forecast. Sorry to bounce around on it. I just wanted to point that out for everybody because I've been guessing that a lot recently about how hurricane season feels like it's been a quiet start. And I know compared to last year, we had Beryl. This year, it's starting right around average. Anyways, back to this. There's that severe weather outlook. And then lightning safety. You know, we had several lightning strikes over the past few weeks here in Jacksonville, released around the First Coast, Northeast Florida, Southeast Georgia. And what's remarkable, Mike, is that each one of those strikes, I shouldn't say remarkable, but noteworthy is more of the proper term. Each one of those strikes took place when it wasn't raining. And I'm sure in Tampa you have the same issue. If it's not raining, people kind of are like, we're used to this. But Mother Nature doesn't care if you're used to it or not. The cliche term, I wish there was a new term because it's cliche, thunder roars, head indoors. But it truly... It needs to be safe out there with this,
well,
right?
Robert, this is a cutting-edge show. I mean, people watching us all across the world, including England right now, so we can come up with our own saying. We don't need to go with the old saying, go indoors when the thunder roars. I'm thinking, don't wait because it will be too late. And then we can add on to that. So we'll start with that. Don't wait because it will be too late if you're waiting for it to rain outside. Because as we talk a lot about, lightning can travel 5-10 miles outside that main thunderhead. I mean, how's that doing that? How's that happen? Well, these cumulonimbus clouds, they build 3, 4, 5 miles high. Then they have these electricity channels that can extend well outside the storm. In fact, a lot of the cloud-to-ground lightning is outside the main rain area. So again, if you hear thunder, don't wait until it's too late. Robert and I will coin that new phrase. Immediately move to your safe shelter. If you see some distant lightning, okay? You don't even have to hear it. If you see any lightning out there, or growing cumulonimbus clouds, just keep in mind, you can go from a fair weather cumulus cloud this time of year to a full-fledged thunderstorm or cumulonimbus cloud in just 15 to 20 minutes, okay? So safety's everything. And I think maybe in our lifetimes, Robert, we will have something called lightning warnings issued across the air. I mean, that's the one thing that a lot of people let their guard down. There's a lot of complacency. We don't issue warnings for lightning. I think we need to change that. So we'll add that to our list of things to do. But again, if you choose the right place to shelter, no sheds, balconies, porches, open vehicles, keep away from outside doors and windows. And no, I know you're going down A1A today, beautiful Ponte Vedra near the golf course. Convertibles don't keep you safe, okay? You need an actual car with an actual metal roof over it to keep you safe in the rain. And then keep in mind, when the lightning strikes a home, it often follows wiring or plumbing to the ground. So, yes, it's one of those things where you stay away from windows, stay away from the plumbing, and take it seriously. And today, we're going to have plenty of lightning along with that heavy rain. So, Robert, detailing that excessive rainfall risk, a level 2 out of 4, which is significant, especially once you get toward Nassau County, northward, even northern Duval. I think this weekend, if there's going to be flooding across Florida, it would be North Florida, just north of I-10, and especially southeast Georgia. And I know we have a lot of travelers. It's summertime, people getting those last-minute vacations in, and not a good combination, because not only could you have some damaging wind gusts, but we could have some flooding. And you can see what this map does. It paints all of that storm zone and that heavy rain across areas of North Florida, southeast Georgia. So Tampa, notice here in Tampa, a little different. Okay, so the farther south you get today, we said the more heat, and we're going to see that in fewer showers and storms and more of a miss on the rain. You see 1/100th for Clearwater for today and tomorrow. Lakeland, we could see those typical sea breeze mergers toward inland areas, toward Polk City, Lakeland, frost-proof, but that's about it. And even the inland areas, even though we're talking about isolated activity, don't wait until it's too late. All right, we're not waiting until it rains to get indoors when you hear that thunder. Now, we take a look at our future casts across Florida here in southeast Georgia, Robert, and you can see the big difference between north and south. I mean, look at this. We've got a 20% chance of a shower here in Tampa, 90 degrees. Then you go to Jacksonville, 80% chance and just 82 degrees. But hey, wait, you're going to at least cool down, okay? So we'll take it, I think. It's been just so hot out there. I know it just made me a little relief, Robert, but I'll let you take this away here as we go through the afternoon. I see 6 o'clock, and I'm thinking maybe one of those days in Jacksonville where you get a few rounds of rain instead of that one splash and dash shower, right?
Yeah, that's definitely the case. A few rounds. I mean, already just around 7 o'clock, we had some heavy showers move through downtown Jacksonville. And as we go ahead through the evening, they're really going to start forming up first along that boundary in the southeastern areas of Georgia, but then slowly work its way towards the south, more or less with the trough as it dips down towards the south, increasing showers and thunderstorms for the Jacksonville area. And as you mentioned, the waves of rainfall. So when you get the one and done, you get that local precip, yeah. But the problem is going to be that you're getting rain on top of already saturated grounds over the course of 2 days here. So for northeast Florida and especially southeast Georgia, kind of looking a little bit further towards the north, Waycross, Brunswick area, they could be looking at local spots 4 to 6 inches in total precipitation. Jacksonville may be seeing about 2 to 4 in spots. So yeah, our yards need it. It does bring some relief from the heat. Most people are probably going to be happy about the rain, especially considering just this dome of heat we've all got over the last week. I mean, it's welcome. But the problem is short time. Over the course of 2 days, I should say, it's going to cause that risk of some flooding out here, especially in our classic flood spots around Jacksonville. For those in this area, San Marco could be looking at a flood risk, but also for coastal areas like Brunswick, where those waters are really going to start to pile up, and even over towards Waycross, some of those back roads and side roads that typically flood up could be looking at some water pilage. But that's going to be the big issue, and as we mentioned, lightning is a potential. Now, the good news is I'm not seeing super severe weather like hail. The tornadic risk isn't terribly there with this one. It's not zero, but it's not really there. So that's the good news. But it's really going to be a lot about the rainfall in our area. I'm sorry, Tampa, you're not getting in, not sharing in on this precipitation. Wish we could spread the wealth over there, but maybe Orlando.
Yeah, I see it. I think Orlando, that would be one of the areas where the sea breezes come together, the inland sea breeze, the Atlantic and the Gulf come together there. And then you go farther north, of course, we've got the frontal boundary and the mesoscale combination with that. And if we take a look overall in the futurecast, you can see just be careful, extra careful, going farther north and northeast. It's a different world here in Tampa here. So this was from Cindy Nelson, the Gandy Bridge this morning. I'll head over to the weather wall and tell you the difference. So we know all about, we've got you all ready for the rainfall in Jacksonville, rounds of rain. In fact, Robert's shown that for today, tonight, could even be some evening storms. And then by Sunday, even some early afternoon showers up in North Florida. So it's going to be a weekend with plenty of rain. And then the farther south you get, yeah, I'll step out of here. We're going to be showing weather watcher pictures with maybe a few debris clouds from some of those cumulonimbus clouds farther to the east and north. But overall, I think it's going to be more of a sunny, hot weekend here in Tampa. So you see Cindy Nelson with this picture at the Gandy Bridge. And there you go. So Jacksonville, Tampa, Miami. Miami would be the area today with your heat advisory. And you can see right now we've got 89 officially Jacksonville, 88 in St. Augustine. Quiet now, but that's about to change. Tampa here, 88. And we are bracing for another blistering hot day. As we look outside right now, we feel like 99 in Sarasota. That's right on the water. 97 in St. Pete at the pier. 99 in Tampa. So you see one of the cruise ships there. Beautiful pictures of some of those building clouds. But if you look closely, yeah, some more dry air in the mid and upper levels. Even though it's nice and muggy and humid, you would think that would build storms here at home. But yeah, you need more of that upper level support they're seeing in North Florida today in the First Coast. Still plenty hot. It's our big weather story here. So you got the thermometer blazing hot. We had 120. That's an all-time record high heat index we hit on Monday. Okay, and this weekend we say at least it'll be a little better, but we're taking this heat every bit as serious. I mean, when you're talking 108 or above, I think, which will hit this weekend, both today and tomorrow, it's a big deal once again. So as we look at that temperatures versus the heat index, we hit 100 this morning by 9:30 a.m. and we're going to stay in the triple digits without those storms all the way through the evening. So a telltale sign we're used to seeing those cooling showers and storms here in Tampa. It's the rainiest month of the entire year. We average over 9 inches for the month. That's over 2 inches per week. We're not seeing anything like that in this pattern. We're talking about a brief shower at best, and as a result, those heat indices and how it feels in the shade well through the roof, okay? And then as you look at the actual temperatures, low to mid-90s. Even overnight, not much relief. We'll still feel it right around 90 as we head toward midnight. So the weekend forecast shows just that 20% chance and really coverage of rain. And this is really your rainfall totals, and where you see the light green, that's not amounting to much whatsoever. And then once you get to the darker green, that's more of your accumulating rain at least, and that would be more for the inland area. So notice that'll allow those temperatures to skyrocket to 94. And then on Sunday, that front stays up across Georgia. It's not moving our way, but we could see a train of low pressure, a little wave of low pressure bring at least maybe an isolated shower to up toward Crystal River, Hernando, and Citrus County. So up the rain coverage to 30% on Sunday. But again, the heat goes on, and maybe a Nature Coast storm. Big story here, Robert. I know I'm a big baseball fan. We got the Rays and Dodgers. We got a west-southwest wind blowing out to right field. And with all that heat and humidity, maybe we'll see several home runs today. But the problem is the heat once again, 94 degrees at 2 o'clock with that first pitch at 1:10, and that rain chance at just 20%. So remember your heat safety. We went over lightning safety earlier. Wear the light-colored clothing here. We're taking frequent breaks from the heat, less alcohol, less caffeine, more water. We're protecting the people, the pets, and the plants, and we're seeking those activities in the air conditioning. So you know it's hot when I'm even curtailing some of my runs, and I was ready to play pickleball out at Veterans Park this past week, and it was tough to get out there. You have to get out there very early in the morning, usually before 9, 10 o'clock, and then as we head towards sunset. That's my best advice. So I'll be doing my little run here as we get towards sunset, and then for Sunday here in Tampa, it's just going to stay blazing hot.
But at least you're not worried about like the Rays game being
yeah, blazing hot, back up over 100. 7-day forecast, Robert, there it is.
Worried about the Rays game being canceled there. Like, okay, sorry.
Yeah, so Rays
right.
are outside Steinbrenner Field. Have you been able to get to a Rays game?
Well, no, I have not, but we have a jumbo shrimp game here in Jacksonville.
Yes.
And the issue is we have all the rain, so our forecast is looking like we're going to have probably some showers over the field. And we have our newest Major League Soccer team, the Jacksonville Armada, which is playing here today as well. And unfortunately, there are showers in the area. So you guys can take your heat at least. You don't have to deal with the precip, especially for people who have those outdoor plans and have to worry about that out there.
Yeah, for sure. So today, getting you ready for the big weekend here. We're going to get you ready for the rainy Jacksonville. We'll go back to the radar here and show you some live data, Robert. And I tell you what, we are talking about the calm before the storm, so to speak. And you're seeing, based on the latest you're seeing there, how's it look outside your windows there in Duval right now?
Well, outside of our windows, you know, we got those kind of clouds starting to build out there. As I mentioned earlier, we had those showers that pushed on by. You can see right there, Union, Bradford, even down towards parts of Clay County, starting to see those showers kick in just south and east of it. Actually, it looks like a little drop there just around St. Augustine starting to develop. And that's the issue with this kind of waves along this trough, is that we are going to see these pulsing thunderstorms, and they're going to blow up, drop some quick rainfall, move off towards the east there, and then kick along. And that's, you're taking there looking out towards southern areas of St. John's, maybe out towards Palm Coast. Showers going to start to work their way out across that area. And I-95 corridor, a lot of people are probably going to be wanting to travel here on their Saturday. It's definitely going to be a slow go on I-95. Looks like some showers actually just passed by Palatka, too. Nice. I always love visiting Palatka out there, but maybe not on a stormy day. But Jacksonville, we're going to get our good share. And all this is down towards the south, but as we go through the next few hours, most of this is going to turn towards southeastern areas of Georgia. But there's your view at Palatka. A lot of lightning coming out of that, too. So there's something else to keep in mind for anybody who's got plans around that area in just the next few hours with those lines of showers. But yeah, I think one of the big things is, and I already kind of see it starting to develop there east of Lake City, is those storms that are going to be popping off through this afternoon. A lot of cloud cover out there right now. This was actually something that I noted this morning here in Jacksonville. This was the first time it felt like in weeks where we started off of our day with cloudy skies versus blue skies here, Mike. And I guess that kind of just shows this pattern that we're talking about here, don't you think?
It's been an amazing pattern. Lots of heat More heat, and then we've got these waves of rain. So today, once again, Jacksonville in the weather impact alert for the rain as you transition back to a lot of rain, and we'll continue to watch those rounds of rain to the north. While here in Tampa, we're watching a few wispy clouds that we saw earlier, and notice what's happening here. Again, very isolated, tiny showers. So we're watching a shower break out toward the Nonasassa and off toward Knights and just to the north of Plant City, but these really not amounting to much. And then we pivot off to the beaches. We got a beautiful beach day here. Clearwater, Indian Rocks Beach would be my weather pick for sure. The place to cool down as we have temperatures in the low to mid 90s. We talked about the heat being the big story, but right on the sand here, Robert, some mid to upper 80s. And we're, of course, wearing the sunscreen with that UV index of 10. And look at that water temperature. Don't like to see that. We talked about hurricane season ramping up. Up to 90 degrees. But for now, we will continue to keep you updated. The big heat in Jacksonville to the big storms in Jacksonville and Tampa. We've got you covered here coast to coast. And of course, we'll have much more coming up tomorrow. Thank you so much, Robert.